back for another GAC video. We're actually back for a whole new GAC week here, and this is the first week that we're going to be setting 3 fleet defenses. So this is going to be a little bit different than normal. Let's go ahead and get into it. This is our opponent, Anonymous Jedis, which Jedi is already plural, but we won't get into that. So he's our opponent. Pretty standard for what we've seen. This week seems to be pretty tame in comparison to the previous weeks. Let's go ahead and look at our spreadsheet here where we have him. Yeah, so across the map here where there's only like 2 100s and a lot of people mostly in the 80s and even this guy in the 70s. So basically what does that mean? So he has a pretty good advantage in GP. Probably doesn't matter though. Where the rubber does hit the road is down here. He only has 248 more relic levels than us. Last week we were battling mostly 400, so that's kind of nice. That's significantly lower than the last ones have been. He only has 2 R9s. Our mod situation does seem to be almost identical. Like, not exactly, obviously, but pretty darn close, especially around the plus 15s and the plus 20s, really where it matters. So, overall, pretty darn close. He does have the 2 Galactic Legends we don't have, that being Rey and Lord Vader. He also has Star Killer, but we have 1 more GAC Omicron than him. So we'll see if that really gets us anywhere. But coming back into the game here, let's go ahead and take a look at what we said on defense versus what he said on defense. I didn't put a whole lot of time into my defense setup this round. It's very similar, for anyone who watched last week, to what it was last week. We put Talon here just to make sure that he can't trooper that. JMK is here just in case he put all 6 Galactic Legends on defense and then he just can't get through it. Which, by the way, it kind of looks like he did. He changes stuff up a lot, so I don't know. There's something we need to keep our eyes out for in the back wall. We'll focus on the front wall first. Back is garbage. I just don't have the teams. I don't have the teams to put back there. Once we get Lord Vader, he'll probably help us switch things up a little bit. But here for our top wall, the only thing that we changed here out of what we ordinarily would actually putting Vet Han in instead of Young Han. The reason for that is we sped our dash up a lot, by like 20 speed or something like that. So he's still not super fast, but he's fast enough to go right in the front. He'll get a bunch of turn meter from his 30 hits or whatever. Kira will go, she'll apply stagger, and then Vet Han, his speed is set to go right after Kira. So that should make it pretty easy. So yeah, she's at 256 and he'll get turn meter, so he'll actually end up being faster than this. He's at like 253. So he's 3 speed slower, which should be enough to push him over. Yes, that's pretty much there. And then fleet, that is really where the big difference maker is this round. We went ahead and just put everything on defense. For those of you who've been watching the videos or the podcast or whatever, we've been saying that we're just going to throw everything on defense because my fleet has too many holes in my roster. Like, I don't have TIE Echelon up to 5 stars, which means really Finalizer isn't as good as it should be. He's not R9. He's not R9. Vader is an R8. So there are still a lot of places where if I'm going to commit to ships and wanting to full clear with them, there are other steps that I need to make before I do that. Because most of these opponents that we're fighting, they have all that stuff that I just said I was missing. Or at least most of it. His defense, again, he changes things up, so I'm not entirely sure. But he put gas down here. We're probably just going to have to CLS that. I haven't checked mods yet, but I don't really have any other option. This is probably going to have to be a Qui-Gon Jinn. This team scares me a lot. It's actually really, really good. We have Lord Vader here, which there's no Maul here because he's over here, but we'll probably still have to SLKR Watt this because Thrawn's in there, and Thrawn causes a lot of issues, to be honest. And then we're gonna have to use our JML team versus the JMK team, which isn't too far out of normal. And then C, I would like to use our own C against him. You see, put Malak in there, so that stops a lot of the counters that we would want to use. But then he's got this. Stop using Darth Maul lead, guys. This is so bad. We're just gonna GG this for very, very easily. And then I'm not too sure what we're going to do on the rest. It's honestly going to depend a lot on what's in the back wall. I would love to maybe use Bad Batch there, but there's no guarantee. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get to the battles. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with these battles here. So we've got up first, we're going to tackle as Lord Vader. There's no Maul here, and I'm not 100% sure how I feel about the split, because taking Maul out here pretty much means that our Supreme Lord Kylo can't lose. Like, they just do not have enough damage on that entire team, unless they get super, super lucky that Vader gets a nice Colonial Blade on Doc or something like that. Wow, Lord Vader has his ultimate going. There's really just no way that this can lose. So they were able to fracture Zombie, but they killed her, so it didn't really do anything. We're just playing this as normal, making sure to cleanse Watt here. We can't really lose this. but at the same time, I'm trying to preserve banners as much as possible, so you can kind of see they're starting to work on Watt. I would rather Watt not die, or I really, really want him to die right before Lord Vader procs his ult, because I don't want to have to deal with his... I don't have to deal with the anti-revive, because Doggin can revive Watt, if you're lucky enough. Yeah, things are going pretty well here, and one thing you will notice, and this is going to affect this battle quite a bit, the match typically doesn't ever end in a timeout if Maul is not present, because we're already a minute and a half into the battle, and Lord Vader hasn't even procced his first ult, and proccing those ults is how he gets a lot of his mastery. So, yeah, so he eventually gets it. I mean, we're 2 minutes into the battle, and we've already been able to siphon quite a few of his characters, so not only is he not getting mastery that fast, but some of the mastery he's getting is the stolen mastery, which, if you guys remember what we've seen previously, pretty much means he's taking a negative mastery, which is really, really bad. One of the dumbest mechanics in game, if not the dumbest. Yeah, this is going pretty smoothly. Their Vader was never really able to get a well-timed Coin Blade onto Daka, so she's still alive. Everything's still going fine. We're able to kill him, and yeah, we're hitting really, really hard despite the relic disadvantage here. And this, I mean, this is literally best case scenario. 3 full health characters, or 4 full health characters rather, and 1 full protection. Like, you can't do better than that unless you're doing pretty large undersize. So we got 73 banners there, and that was pretty cool. And now here's where the lows come in. So we were debating, we were thinking that there's really not a big reason for someone to take SLKR on offense versus us, because we're not Lord Vader. And really, SLKR is best used on defense if you're not going to use him to counter Lord Vader, at least towards the end game. Begin game, if you're only GL, things are a little bit different. So we go ahead and take in our budget JML team, and the reason we do this is because nothing on the enemy team really scared me. They had a really skinny cat, like she was pretty much full offense. She only had like 70k health. It wasn't a lot. Mace was on the team, and he was low relic, so that's a lot better than having to deal with like R9, R8, GK. And on top of that, our JML was faster. So this is pretty much how we thought this was going to go in the very beginning, and then they go ahead and get their ult, and they seem to hard target Jolie, which is really, really not good, because if he dies, this whole match is over. Like, we don't have Savior here to bail us out, or we don't, like, Jedi Knight Luke and Jedi Master Luke, they can actually kind of hold their own to a certain extent if you have both of them on the team. So that would be the other team that we wouldn't have taken in. Instead of taking in, I believe, yeah, Cam and Shakti, we would have been taking in Jedi Knight Revan and Jedi Knight Luke. So yeah, here's the issue. They start to get going, and like once they start to lose the ability blocks and just to kind of wreak havoc, and they get ult and they can target whoever they want, this starts to go south. And we've actually, I want to say we've done this before, but I don't know if it's, I think it's just, yeah, it's an R7 cat. I'll say that's not R8. We're just not able to get enough damage out on her. We're just not able to get it there. And this match is a pretty big deal. If we don't clear this team, it's pretty much an insta loss because it's on his front wall. And assuming he can clear ours with something, depending on what he has in the back wall. Well, at this point, I wasn't really sure what he had in the back wall. But yeah, just a lot of, I wouldn't call this bad RNG. I think this is just a poor decision. Like, you see there, we got close to killing Cat, and then all of a sudden, Padme went ahead and killed him. So we get the revive out again, and this is our, I think, the second revive of him. We keep calling Jolie so we can reduce his cooldowns. But the issue is here, JML is actually the only Galactic Legend, I believe, that doesn't have some type of progressively stacking mastery. So, and JMK does. JMK continues to stack his mastery, and they're calling each other to assist, as well as the ult, and they just slaughter us. And that's pretty much game. That's pretty much game for the whole match. That was really big. Misplaced, probably not the right word, but just poor kit execution. Like, we should have just taken in the full, like, monster JML team. Like, I recognize that was a huge mistake. And if SLKR was on the back wall, we would have dealt with it when we got there, because that's what we were trying to do. We were trying to save Jedi Knight Revan and Jedi Knight Luke. So now we're coming to this next battle, and we're taking in C, and this is really, like, we're just messing around at this point. Not messing around, but we're just trying to see what we can do here. Like, our Thrawn, we don't have this counter modded correctly, and honestly, like, how JMK counters work is you typically pick one and you commit to it. And that's really where we failed, is we didn't really commit to the other one. So we're in here, and things are going pretty well. And then, of course, Mace lands the ability block on armor. We were almost able to get 3 stacks. I don't think that we would have maybe won necessarily if we got the 3 stacks, but maybe we would have at least gotten a big hit off. So yeah, this is really, really bad. So they just full on target C. They just completely ignore the taunts, which, you know, that's what their ult does. Because Cat's there, they hit all the way through our protection. So they slaughter C. And, I mean, the rest of the team's history at this point. Yeah, as soon as armor got ability blocked, and then this was also just kind of a crapshoot. So this bounty hunter thing to snipe out cat, it generally works really well when you have the turns all sorted right, but with them being preloaded, there was really no way to be able to come into this with our cooldowns correctly. So we just did it just to see what would happen, to see if we get really lucky, and plot twist we didn't. So we can't clear the bottom. We can't clear the bottom. That's just the reality. That was a mistake that we made really with that first battle, and now I just have to live with it. So we now have no Galactic Legends, so we need to kill C to at least get through the top wall. So I'm taking in Grievous here, because I'm thinking, okay, so Malak is obviously an issue. I don't think we're going to actually be able to, like, one-shot it with Malak there. But how close can we get? Can we kill Malak? Because if we can kill Malak, Wampa will eat the rest of this team pretty easily. So we're trying to gain control here, trying to land the target locks. Unfortunately, fortunately, Magna Guard keeps taunting, so they're not, Malak isn't life-draining B1, because that's who he prefers to life-drain. So he's pretty consistently healing all the way back up, and at this point, I'm starting to get really, really cautious, because I'm afraid that we're accidentally going to kill, like, one of these really weak Sith, like Dooku or Talon or something like that, and then we're just going to lose all the target lock. Malak's going to heal, because our goal here is to kill Malak. If Malak doesn't die, then we probably don't even clear this wall either. So we're aiming for him. Luckily, very luckily, we land the healing immunity. Magna eats it, and this is really weird. This is the first time I have ever done this in my entire SWH history. We're going to use the basic with B1, because I don't want to AoE and kill Duke or Talon. I don't want to AoE or kill Duke or Talon. We're committing to killing Malak. Malak has to die here. We use the AoE. We kill not only Malak, but also 2 other characters, which we bypass. We bypass the whole healing thing. And now it's just Sidious and C here. He doesn't have his ult. He lost his link in the last character, and luckily he did not link GG here. So we're now able to crit him. We land the healing immunity. Here he has the healing immunity, just got it. So I think we go for oh yeah, we went for the target lock. That's what we wanted to do. So he's got target lock. He had the healing immunity. We're able to do a fair amount here. We don't go for the special, even though it does more damage, because we want just the base to apply healing immunity. He procs his ult, but luckily, C's one of C's big flaws is he can't do a whole lot until his next turn, and we kill him. C with Malak goes down to Grievous Nute. That was cool. Like, there were some really, really large, or really high lows. There were some really supreme lows in this battle, but there were also some really, really good highs, and that was one of the really good highs. So now we have to tackle this Qui-Gon Jinn team, which really is not that threatening. They only have Jedi Anakin is there, obviously, because this team would be garbage. We don't land the 2-turn stun on Anakin, which is super annoying, because that's literally the only character that I wanted to have the 2-turn stun. I guess GK would have been nice so it didn't cleanse. So now we're stuck behind the taunt here, and on top of that, Jedi Anakin is pretty much able to get pissed off whenever he wants. But luckily, Bad Batch, and we've said this before, Bad Batch can pretty easily tank 1 AoE from Jedi Anakin as long as he's not ticked off. This is a fun one. Stop setting this garbage comp. Again, Darth Maul in here with Darth Revan and no Malak. So guess what we get to use? We get to use freaking Wampa, because they have no really way to daze us. They have no way to stun us. They only have 1 guaranteed fear from Darth Revan, and as you guys saw in the very beginning, that really wasn't enough. I kind of thought the stealth might have been a bigger issue, but it's not. It's really not. And they don't have any really defense mechanics. So we're just shredding right through them. So we got through Darth Revan, we got through Sith Marauder, and now they just can't land anything. So Wampa gets a nice 68 there against that kind of a makeshift Darth Revan team, so that was nice. I don't get the Maul lead and Nest at the same time. Like, what's the point? Anyways, I'll end rant. So then we just taking Troopers versus the Dash team. They didn't have the Omicron, so this is fairly low threatening, and we're going in, we're trying just to pound on L3, because if we pound on IG, then L3 is going to come after us because she gets turn meter. So we went ahead and we landed the daze there, which that was really nice, and now the missions just take out Vandor, because and this is one of the reasons why I don't think the Dash Omicron is super great, and it's not because the Dash Omicron sucks, but it's just because Dash is so good without it. Like, I feel like it's a very small piece of this kit. Like, it's good, I have it, I don't regret it at all, but yeah, Dash is just good without it. That being said, he wasn't fast enough. I think he was only 336 on our PS, like 255. So yeah, then we go ahead and take in our CLS versus Gas. Gas was pretty well modded. He was modded for crit damage rather than offense, which isn't good for this matchup because half our team can't even be crit. On top of that, the 5s was actually modded really well. He had a lot of protection and defense sets, and you'll see that come into play here. Because we're not really able to shred through him as easily as I'd like, because a lot of our damage is health based. So we just take quite a few turns to get down. We don't go for the blind because Rex will just cleanse it. So we go ahead and kill Rex. We only kill 2 of them. We do not, or he doesn't land daze on either of my Wookiees because we have quite a bit of tenacity on our CLS and Chewbacca. The CLS will share it via Nubaka. And then, yeah, we just tear through it, and then Gas gets back up. Hits Nubaka, all fine. We go for the basic. We're just really trying to kill him before he kills us, which I guess is the entire game. And he goes after Han when he could have killed Nubaka, so I don't really know what he was doing there. So that was nice. So yeah, now, there's only really one team left on the board, and it's this really, honestly, quite good Maul, Watts, Bam team. And we've struggled with this before. We've tried to use GG, and it just ends poorly. There's not enough damage to really get through them. So we go ahead and take Jedi Anakin here, and you'll see this is something a lot of people don't do. We actually went for the AoE right away. A lot of people don't like to do that because they're waiting for Qui-Gon Jinn to die. Well, if you take in a junk character like Luminara, your Qui-Gon Jinn typically never dies because the AI will always prioritize whoever is just stupid weak. And of course, you know, Gear 7 Luminara is way weaker than our R3 Qui-Gon Jinn. He's not even modded for health. He's modded mostly for offense in the case that he does die. So yeah, Jedi Anakin gets ticked off like 5 times or so, and one really, really cool interaction. I might even pause this here in a second. So one really cool interaction, the whole reason why we have Mace on this team is to completely or consistently trigger. All right, so here, it's the first time we paused the video in a long time. We have our Mace modded for very, very low health and high tenacity. Specifically so that once he goes below 100% health, or rather, once he goes under 50% health, someone's going to attack him because he's taunting or whatever you want to call that. He's going to then counter, and if his health is really stinking low, he'll get over the 50%, and then someone will push him back down again, and you'll just get into the cycle where Jedi Anakin gets ticked off, and we see that. 100% health on that counter. 100% health. So now, Mace is still taunting. He doesn't have healing immunity right now. So the next person who goes and hits him, they're just going to target Jedi Anakin again. And then hopefully we can just kind of get into a cycle of that. So that was really, really cool to see. So yeah, we don't really need to do anything here. We did get a Shatter Point on Mace, or not Mace, on Maul, which is pretty cool because a lot of his damage is health-based. So when we start knocking his health down, he starts doing less. So unfortunately, we're capped out on ground at this point, and that does kind of suck. Again, didn't play my best. I made the wrong bad call. So we get the ships, and I'm going to be real honest here. There's almost no strategy with what we do with ships. We got the ships, and they saved a lot for offense. They left their Empire, they left their Raddus, and they left their Malevolence all on defense. And I have a lot of holes in my roster when it comes to ships, so we went with a really, really heavy defense, which I showed you guys that beforehand, and we're really not prepared to even take down. I would say this is more of a middle-term defense. Like, he didn't put down complete garbage. Like, the Empire fleet with TIE Interceptor, along with Malevolence, both those are decent. Like, those are... It's not Executor, but it's still pretty... It's not terrible. So, I don't recommend any of this gameplay. Like... I don't think any of this is... I'm showing it in the video just for the sake of showing it, but I don't think this is useful gameplay. I don't think any of the moves that I did, whether choosing the battles, what I saved for offense, and even just the individual execution of each move. Like, I don't know if I stand by any of these. I need to get better at ships. That's just the reality here. So, we took in our TIE Fighter first there, hoping that would kind of... We would get more turn meter, because they were faster than us. They had Thrawn lead Zeta, which I guess I need to apply that now at some point. So that's kind of a bummer. So because their Thrawn was faster, they got to go first, which also means they got to their ultimate first, and they increased our cooldowns. So this sucks. Like, we're able to kill their Vader, but other than that, that's all we did. And then again, like, there's don't read into these matches, or at least the fleet ones. Like, these were bad ideas at best. So yeah, we take in our Rebels versus his Malevolence, and they get the stun. They don't keep putting debuffs on one character to cleanse them, and then they just, mass assist right onto our Y-Wing, and the Millennium Falcon really needs a lot of ships to be able to do anything, and when you start losing them all in the very beginning, it goes south very, very quickly. So I do like his starting lineup, by the way. That's the same starting lineup we're doing. We're going in and taking in kind of a weird thing where we have Vulture reinforced. I think it's pretty good, though. I think it's pretty good if we're being honest. So, yeah, I mean, we're just trying to kill something at this point. We're just trying to kill something. And in reality, the loss on the other fight with the Empire Mirror that we did, that was game right there. I don't have Ray, so I don't have the Raddus fleet developed at all, which means I have 6 fleets. 3 are on defense and 3 are on offense. I do not have a cleanup fleet. I don't have a single fleet to clean up. So pretty much the second, not only did we, when we lost our Jedi battle versus JMK, not only did we forfeit getting through the front wall, but as soon as we lost that Empire Mirror, or really any of these matches, like the Akbar lost against Malevolence too, as soon as we lost against any of these, we instantly weren't full clearing, just because we have nothing to clean up. So, we do go ahead and take a Finalizer against, if you guys have any, like, advice, fleet-wise, of how I could have split this differently that might have been better, feel free, I'll take it. Like I said, I would not prescribe what I did here to anyone. Maybe with Finalizer, but I couldn't figure out what was going to beat the other two the best, because I figured all 3 of our fleets would beat Raddus probably handily, but yeah, the other 2 I didn't know. Like, my Rebels really were that well built. Neither are. What was the other fleet we used? Yeah, my Empire was slower, so maybe I should have done Empire versus the Malevolence. I don't know if that would have been a good idea. I'm very used to using like 2 different types of counters versus 2 different types of things, and yeah, maybe Finalizer would have been better against the Empire, despite them having what's his face in there, the Interceptor. I've seen people that go south for people, but at the same time, I mean, we didn't do a ton better. So yeah, we're getting into this fight, and you know, the longer this drags on, the more pumped up the silencer gets there. And there's also, I think, only 4 characters even in this, so it's only a matter of time before I mean, you can only kill them so many times, or there's only so many characters out there. So got the double dodge there from post. That was nice. Keep trying to take everything off of them, and we get that battle. So we're able to take that team down, and now here's the final board. So we got utterly destroyed. Completely, utterly destroyed. Like, I don't think, I could be wrong, I don't think we've ever had this bad of a board. Ever. I don't mean in the new system. I don't even mean GAC. I mean, like, all the way back to GA. I don't think I've ever only cleared 1 wall. Like, this is the worst we've ever done. So, not super great. I just want to say this, though. Congrats to our opponents. Regardless of what happened, he objectively played better. Like, objectively played better. Even, I'm not going to go into this rant about how he had a huge advantage. Like, this wasn't even close. Like, not even remotely. So, and he wasn't even that sloppy. Like, he one-shot the vast majority of stuff we put on the board. So, shout out to him. Congrats, man. Good job. One thing I will say, and this actually kind of sucks, because I'm afraid this is going to kind of ruin my strategy here. And also, I can't scroll down, and by I don't think anybody can scroll down on fleets right now. But I was watching when he did this, and he had to take 2 fleets against Malevolence, 2 against Negotiator, and then he one-shot Executor, very likely the Mirror. So he used 5 fleets, so he was on fumes to take down what we put down. So we might rethink the fleet philosophy here, because the whole point of this fleet is to, if we don't clear, that's fine, but they can't clear either, and he did clear. So this is slightly problematic. I'm gonna have to rethink this. I have to go home and rethink my life. Yeah, guys, overall, performance-wise, I'm not really content with this match. I said many times last month that, oh, we lose, but, you know, I'm satisfied, I'm happy with what we did. I'm really not here. Like, I want to do better. I really want to do better than this. This mistake right here, this was avoidable. We should have just taken the full Jedi. There were some really cool highlights, though. Like, it's pretty darn cool to see GG take out C with Malak in there, or Wampa to take out Darth Revan. But then, yeah, it's going to take a minute. It's going to take a minute for me to figure out what I want to do with ships, but we'll get there when we get there. Thanks for watching as always, guys. Feel free to like and subscribe, and as always, stay awesome.